Live. Before we get to our usual shenanigans, I just want to be serious for a second. Because just this morning, something tragic just came in the news. Terry Jones, co-founder of Monty Python, passed away after a long struggle with dementia. First Graham Chapman back in '89, and now Terry Jones.
It really is a loss because Monty Python is one of the greatest. Flying Circus is one of the greatest probably the greatest British comedy show of all time, and they make some of the funniest movies of all time. Holy Grail, Monty Python, the Holy Grail, Meaning of Life, and Life of Brian. Holy Grail is probably my favorite of the three.
Yeah, it's my favorite too. Anyways, now with that said, greetings, Rhino, and welcome to episode 3 of the FilmBrony podcast, where two bronies talk about films and whatnot. In this episode, we get to talk about showcasing our recent Blu-ray pickups, ranking all the Star Wars films from worst to best, the Golden Globe wins, and the Oscar nominations, and why they are hella flawed.
Oh, sorry. I was too busy grinding. For a moment on Final Fantasy V. Gotta ruin that moment. Anyways, greetings everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of FilmBrony podcast. I am your co-host, Sumar 3, and we got a good plethora of topics to go over. Got some Blu-rays to discuss, and the Golden Globe wins, and the Oscar nominations, and why they are so full of fucking shit. Oh, and of course, my rankings of all the Star Wars movies. Our rankings of all the Star Wars movies. All 11 of them. No, Clone Wars will not be on the list because that was just a bunch of episodes piled together and they decided to make it into a movie.
Yeah, it was pretty much what it was. Now, with all that said, we got a lot of things to do, so let's get down to business.
All right.
What do you have for your Blu-ray pickup, Brady?
All right, I only have one Blu-ray to show you all because, again, I'm on a budget at the moment, and it's a classic because, in case you don't know, I'm a huge fan of romance. It is my favorite genre of all time, and this is a classic romance movie from the 1980s, Dirty Motherfucking Dancing.
I've heard of that movie, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, it is such a beautiful, beautiful movie. Patrick Swayze, Jennifer Grey have some of the best chemistry in any romance movie. It is funny. It is heartwarming. It is timeless. Oh, of course, the famous song won the Oscar. I've had the time of my life. Yeah, it was back when the Oscars actually award those types of songs. Dirty Dancing is a classic 80s romance movie. I highly recommend you see it. All right.
I got a whole bunch of Blu-rays to showcase. Some of them I bought from Amazon, some from eBay. Let's get down to the Amazon ones first. All these movies, with the exception of one, I have not seen yet. With the exception of one, I'll get to in a bit. With that said, my first Blu-ray is a modern Clint Eastwood classic, American Sniper.
I have it. It is actually a great war movie, one of the best war movies out there. I don't know if it is their best adapted screenplay nomination, though, but the movie is actually pretty heart-pounding, and Bradley Cooper gives one of his best performances. And it's nice to see a great Clint Eastwood movie in a very long time after J. Edgar and Jersey Boys. But yeah, American Sniper is a great war movie, one of the best war movies out there. At least for me, it's one of the best war movies.
He said, not me. Next one is the one movie I have seen before, and it's probably one of the most relatable films in recent years, Lady Bird.
I love Lady Bird. But come on, Oscars. We all know why you nominated Greta Gerwig for Best Director, because you would not have nominated for Best Director if it was directed by her boyfriend Noah Baumbach. It's my number two best movie 2017, but Best Director nomination, no.
Yeah, especially over Denis Villeneuve for Blade Runner.
Yes, and I feel I'm going to get a bunch of SJWs on here coming, telling me I'm accusing me of being sexist or some bullshit, whatever. But Lady Bird is a really funny and relatable movie, as perhaps what I think is Saoirse Ronan's best performance.
Yeah, Saoirse Ronan is terrific in this movie, but who really steals the show is Laurie Metcalf as her mother, who should have won that Oscar, in my opinion.
I don't know. I think, have you seen I, Tonya?
I hear it's fantastic, but no, I haven't seen it.
That really deserved that Oscar.
Anyway, so Labor, great film. Next Blu-ray I have here is Manchester by the Sea.
I have it. It's a terrific movie. It's my third favorite movie of 2016. And I think it really deserved Best Original Screenplay, and Casey Affleck highly deserved that Oscar. It's a really sad movie with some uplifting moments to really balance out the humor and the drama, no matter how powerful this movie how powerful a movie is.
Yeah, speaking of Oscars, it is pretty hypocritical that they gave Casey Affleck the Oscar after his.
We'll get to that later.
Right. Next movie I have here is a Steven Spielberg war movie that got a lot of attention, but got completely snubbed out of the Oscars. And that, of course, is Munich. Did you think I was going to say something by Ryan for a second?
I thought you were going to say Warhorse.
No, Munich.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen Munich. I heard terrific things about it, though.
Yeah, me too. All right. Next movie I have here is John Carpenter's The Thing.
You haven't seen that?
Don't worry, I will.
Oh my God! It is a classic horror movie. You know, it is a remake. It's a remake of their classic, but I think the remake is a lot better. When the movie came out, it did not get good feedback at all. A lot of people found it to be too violent, too dark, and they don't like the ending. But as months passed, people really started to appreciate that movie for how scary it is, how claustrophobic it is, how awesome Kurt Russell is. And you know, because it's like the first studio film that John Carpenter has ever did.
Right.
And so it was like I guess like it was a little tough times for him.
Yeah.
Because back then he did like his own things. He had his own control, and this is like, you know, his first venture into like, you know, a studio movie. And it must have been really tough for him to work on. But I love John Carpenter's The Thing. It is one of my favorite movies of all time.
All right. Next movie I have here is what I hear to be a Western classic from the 90s, and that is Tombstone.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Unforgiven. I haven't really seen Tombstone.
Yeah, I do hear it's fantastic, though. All right, next Blu-ray I have here is a movie that, a recent movie that I really wanted to see in theaters, but I completely missed out on it. And I guess now's the chance to check on it to see if it's as good as everyone says or as confusing as everyone says. Ad Astra.
I still haven't seen Ad Astra. So I got no comment on that one.
Yeah, me neither.
I do love James Gray. I think he is an underrated filmmaker.
Next one I have here is a Mark Wahlberg movie, and I'll give you a hint, Brady. You have a 3-pack of Mark Wahlberg films, and it's the one you would care about the most.
The Fighter?
Bingo.
Yes, love the fighter. I love David Russell, even though he is kind of a hothead to work with. No, not kind of. He is really a hothead to work with. But I love it. One of the best boxing movies out there, up there with Rocky. Christian Bale really deserved that Oscar. He and Mark Wahlberg have terrific brotherly chemistry. Melissa Leo as the mother is so awesome. And I love his chemistry with Amy Adams. She was not written as this love interest. She was just there to support him. And I don't think it deserved a Best Director nomination, though, over Christopher Nolan Inception. But The Fighter is an amazing boxing movie.
All right, and last...
And one of the writers co-wrote Joker.
Yeah, I see. And last and probably least is Ghostbusters 2016.
Okay, I actually did not mind Ghostbusters, Paul Feig's Ghostbusters. Do I think it's like on the same level as the original Ghostbusters? No, but it did have quite a few number of funny moments, and I love the chemistry with all the ladies. And I guess the only flaw is, all the cameos were not very good, and so the Easter eggs were so blatantly obvious.
I see.
But I am glad we're getting an actual Ghostbusters 3 this year, as we directed by Ivan Reitman's son, who is a very talented son, and I think he's doing a lot better than Ivan Reitman.
I see.
In terms of quality.
And that's all for my Blu-rays. Now then, let's go down to the 77th Golden Globe Award wins. All right.
All right.
First off is Best Foreign Language Film. We all know it was going to go to Parasite, and it went to Parasite, so there you go.
I still haven't seen Parasite, and I feel like I'm missing out. I should probably watch that before the Oscars start.
For Best Animated Feature Film is kind of a shocker. Missing Link?
That was kind of funny. That was kind of a funny one. I love Missing Link. I'll give it credit that it did shock me in a way for something I would never expect to see win, but in all seriousness, no, it should have went to either Dragons or Toy Story 4.
Honestly, part of me kind of feels like they only gave it to Missing Link was they were so sad that it bombed so hard at a box office. But
I feel bad for Leica. Their movies never make money.
Yeah. Anyways, for Best Original Song, it went to I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man.
And rightfully so. It was one of Elton John's best songs in years. And I hope Elton John wins the Oscar.
Right. Best Original Score, Joker.
I'm so goddamn happy it went to Hildur, whatever her name is. Seriously cannot pronounce her name. And I'm not even going to try to. I don't want to butcher anyone's name. But I love Joker is probably my favorite score of the year because the score just gives that dark, cold feeling that, something dark is going on inside, Arthur Fleck's mind. It is the type of musical score that gets under your skin. And I just love that. And I hope it wins the Oscar.
Yeah, I hope so too. For Best Screenplay, it went to Tarantino.
I'm kind of happy. I'm really happy it went to Tarantino because Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is in my top 5 favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. Minus the fact that Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate was pretty underdeveloped. It was funny. It was humorous. It was well paced, and I love the two chemistry between Leo and Brad Pitt. We'll get to him later. And I'm so sad that Tarantino's next movie is going to be his last movie.
Yeah, but it is. But the good news is he's gonna end on a high note because, from what I've heard, he's had a pretty bulletproof career.
Yeah, well, I would say it's completely bulletproof. I mean, there was death proof.
Yeah, true that. For Best Actor, it went to Sam Mendes for 1917.
I still haven't seen 1917, but from what I've heard about it, it's like the Birdman of war movies. So that's pretty interesting
It
for me.
totally is, man. It totally is. Best Supporting Actress went to Laura Dern for Marriage Story.
Okay. I actually do think Laura Dern is one of the best actresses in Marriage Story, and Anna says like I really think she does deserve that Golden Globe win. I really hope she wins that Oscar.
Right. Best Supporting Actor went to Brad Pitt from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay, my pick was Joe Pesci, but Brad Pitt in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is I'm gonna say is probably the best actor in the whole movie because everyone else, like everyone in the movie, I'm not saying they're bad, they're all great because everyone in the movie is like having like their it's like loud moments that break it down while Brad Pitt is just laid back during everything that surrounds him. And I thought that's just genius. He's like just like the most laid back actor in the whole movie. So yeah, I would not be mad at all if he wins the Oscar. His second Oscar. I don't know why people keep saying, "Oh, Brad Pitt's an Oscar." You were 12 Years a Slave. He won an Oscar.
Yeah, he produced 12 Years a Slave. Anyways, for Best Comedic Actress went to Awkwafina for The Farewell.
I have not seen The Farewell, but I do like Awkwafina in Crazy Rich Asians.
Best Comedic Actor, Taron Egerton.
I am so happy it went to Taron Egerton for Rocket Man, because this guy really shines as Elton John, like where he actually becomes Elton John, acting wise and singing wise. Take that, Robbie Malek. Man, I'm still kind of upset about you. Okay, we'll get to that later.
Best Dramatic Actress, Renee Zellweger for Judy.
I have not seen Judy. I heard it's a good biopic, but I heard that Renee Zellweger really shines in that movie.
Best Dramatic Actor, and I
really. What do you have anything to say about all these winners? Like you just say what they just kind of go over to the next one.
Well, I don't really have much to say about most of these wins because some of them I haven't even heard of. I mean, some of them I haven't seen. I mean, I did see Joker in 1917, but all the rest, like Rocket Man, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, etc., I still have yet to see.
Okay.
Best Dramatic Actor. I really hope he wins the Oscar. Joaquin Phoenix.
He is a lock. He is a lock. He won the Golden Globe. He won the Critics' Choice Award, and he just won the SAG Award. I think he's a shoo-in to win this time. And I'm happy this could be his first Oscar. And this is Joaquin Phoenix's best performance I have seen from him since The Master.
Right. I think he's pretty much tied with Heath Ledger as the best DC comic book villain portrayal in the movie.
Well, they're two very. It's pretty hard to compare the two.
Yeah, true that. Best motion picture musical or comedy, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That one kind of interests me. I thought I was going to go to Rocket Man, but Hollywood I'm not very upset about because like I said, it's in my top 5 favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. So yeah, I'm really happy that it won.
And best motion picture drama, 1917.
I'm very happy. Well, no, wait. What am I saying? I haven't seen 1917 yet. Duh. What am I saying? So I haven't seen it, but I really want to because I'm a huge fan of Sam Mendes. He's one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, he made Skyfall. He made American Beauty.
Not those, but also Revolutionary Road and The Road to Perdition.
Right.
I haven't seen Jarhead. I heard that's another war movie. I was really let down by Spectre, though.
Yeah, me too. Anyways, on to the Oscars.
For fuck's sake.
Oh, boy. Anyways, for Best Visual Effects, here are the movies nominated. 1917, Avengers Endgame, which is the only nomination
The
it got.
only fucking nomination it gets. Highest grossing movie of all fucking time, and outgrossed James Cameron, and you're just giving the measly best visual effects nomination. Fucking great.
Yeah, kind of ridiculous. Anyways, The Irishman.
That I can understand because the de-aging technology, the de-aging effects on all the actors is terrific.
Pretty seamless. Pretty seamless. Next up is The Lion King 2019.
Yes. It definitely deserves that nomination. I gotta give credit where credit's due. It definitely deserved that nomination.
And the last nomination is Rise of Skywalker. Interesting.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Of course, every Star Wars movie gotta get visual effects nomination.
Well, Revenge of the Sith only got makeup nomination, but still.
Mm-hmm.
But where's Ad Astra? I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I hear it's a visual spectacle.
I haven't seen it. I was kind of disappointed that Pokemon Detective Pikachu did not make the short list.
Right. And my personal pick would be Endgame, of course.
But yeah, I really hope Endgame wins this Oscar. I hope it does win. I'm thinking it's probably gonna go to 1917 because it's most likely going to be the technical achievement of the year.
I kind of have a feeling it would go to The Irishman because it kind of fits their agenda.
I don't know. Maybe it could go with The Irishman, but
Anyway.
I hope it goes to Avengers Endgame.
Yeah, me too. Anyways, for best film editing, we have Ford v Ferrari.
I still haven't seen that movie.
Go see it, man, as soon as you can. The Irishman.
Yes.
Jojo Rabbit.
Still haven't seen it.
Joker.
Yes.
And Parasite.
I think it's gonna go to. I think Thelma Shoemaker is gonna win her
Yeah, I kind of. Yeah,
fourth Oscar. I think she's gonna win her fourth Oscar this year.
And I kind of hope she wins because it's 3.5 hours long and it went by just like that.
Yes, that's why I hope it wins. That's why I really hope it wins this one.
Right. For best costume design, we have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I want Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to win this one because so many locations, different kinds of locations, really captured 1970s Hollywood, and so many different sets that Leo would work on, and his mansion, and that junkyard Brad Pitt goes to. I really hope Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wins. I really hope it wins this one.
Yeah, me too. But in terms of these nominations, where's Rocket Man? And
yes.
And I know the movie wasn't great per se, but it had fantastic costumes. Where's
you finally saw Rocket Man? You finally saw Rocket Man?
No, not yet. I'm talking
why
about.
Would you say it wasn't great? Why would you say it wasn't great if you haven't seen it?
I don't know, but my second snub is I know the movie wasn't great, but it was a visual spectacle. Where's Aladdin for best costume design?
We're on production design, man.
Where's costume? Where's Aladdin for costume design? I'm sorry.
No, we're still on production design. We're not on costume yet, man.
No, I just went to costume design right now. I just read the costume nominations.
I thought you read production design.
No,
you read production design.
No, production design I'll get to in a bit. This is costuming. My two snubs.
Right. Oh.
My two snubs for costumes were Rocket Man and Aladdin.
Rocket Man should have been on here. Like all the many outfits they had to get the Taron Egerton to put on. It's like crazy. Like I said, captured Elton John so well. He had to wear all these crazy outfits. How the fuck can you overlook that in costume design?
Right. Now, for best makeup and hairstyling, they did something different for once because they expanded the list from 3 to 5 nominations.
About goddamn time. I don't know why. Why they would do 3 all these goddamn years.
Anyways, the nominees are 1917, Bombshell, Joker, Judy, and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil.
I really hope Joker wins this one.
Me too.
Yeah, I think Joker is like an easy win for this one.
Right. For best cinematography, we have 1917. Really hope Roger Deakins wins that second Oscar. We have The Irishman. We got Joker. We got The Lighthouse. Pretty surprising. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I believe it's going to go to Roger Deakins for this one. I haven't seen 1917, but any movie that has one take tracking shots, of course they're going to win.
Right. And now is where we get to best production design. We have. So the nominees are 1917, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite.
I really think that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood will win this one, or everything I've said before.
Yeah, because the Academy loves movies about Hollywood when it comes to production design and costumes.
They really do. Even though Sunset Boulevard only won Best Original Screenplay.
Right, and Hail Caesar was only nominated Best Production Design.
Right.
And Singing in the Rain. And, okay, I'm getting off track. Now we get to the sound categories. Sound mixing, 1917, Ad Astra, Ford versus Ferrari, Joker, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I'm pretty sure it's going to go to 1917.
Yeah, it's kind of a gimme. Either that or Ford versus Ferrari. Now for
a lot of war movies usually win sound categories.
True that. For best sound editing, we have 1917, Ford versus Ferrari, Joker, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Rise of Skywalker.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay, yeah, I'll give it, sound design, any sound design of Star Wars movie is always great. So, yeah, sure, I'll give it that, but something else Star Wars later, I'll get to later. But again, I think it's going to go to 1917 for this one.
Yeah. Now, for best original song, we have I Can't Let You Throw Yourself Away from Toy Story 4. Personally, I would have gone with the Ballad of the Lonesome Cowboy from that same movie, but that song is also good. I'm Gonna Love Me Again from Rocket Man, Elton John.
The only fucking nomination Rocket Man ever has. That is absolutely bullshit.
It is. We also have I'm Standing With You from Breakthrough. Hey, that rhymes.
Of course, anything, they love to nominate Diane Warren. Anything she does, any song she writes is an instant nomination for her.
We also have Into the Unknown from Frozen 2. Personally, I didn't really care for Frozen 2, but Into the Unknown is still a damn good song. And the last nomination is Stand Up from Harriet. By the way, am I the only one who thinks of that song from Rack and Benny every time I hear the song Stand Up? Is that
I,
just me?
I don't think I even probably because I'm not even sure what that is, man.
It's a episode of Veggie Tales. You probably wouldn't.
Uh, you watch VeggieTales?
Yeah, as a kid, that was the shit for me. Anyways, Will and Should I'm Gonna Love Me Again for Best Original Song.
I hope it wins. I really hope it wins.
For Best Original Score, we have Thomas Newman for 1917. Joker by Hildur, what's her name?
Don't even try to pronounce her name.
Alexander Desplat for Little Women. Marriage Story by Randy Newman. And Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. No.
What original score? It was just themes from the previous movies.
Yeah, I don't think. No, this is not one of John Williams' most memorable scores. This is not one of the most memorable scores in Star Wars history. Where the fuck is Alan Silvestri for
For
Avengers Endgame?
Endgame. For Endgame, right. For the short film categories, I could care
Or
less.
or the or the Daniel what's his name for Uncut Gems. Oh, there's nothing for Uncut Gems. Fucking nothing for Uncut Gems.
We'll get to that later. For Best Animated Short Film, I could care less. Live action short film, I could care less. Best documentaries, I don't give a rat's ass. For Best International Feature Film, originally Best Foreign Language Film, but they changed it. Wait.
Parasite. No need to read off the other nominations. There's no point.
Yeah. Best Animated Feature Film, How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World. I
Yes.
hope that wins. A movie I've never even heard of before. I Lost My Body.
They like to nominate animated movies I never fucking hear of.
Yeah. Klaus. I've heard of that one.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard about it. I've heard really good things about it. People are saying it's like an underrated animated film.
And we also have Missing Link and Toy Story 4.
I'm honestly shocked that there's no Frozen 2 nomination here. That kind of surprises me.
Yeah, I'm kind of happy because I didn't really care for Frozen 2. But
Yeah, some people are divided about Frozen 2. It's kind of right. Some people say it's good, but not as good as the first Frozen. Some say it's even better than the first Frozen.
I think Frozen 2 is a bit worse, and I didn't really care for the first Frozen to begin with. But
What? Why didn't you like the first Frozen?
That's another story for another day.
Oh, let me guess. You don't like how popular it's gotten. Is that why?
I used to think that way, but then I went deeper into it and pointed out what's wrong with the movie itself. That's a story for a whole nother day.
Ha!
Anyways, for best adapted screenplay, we have The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, directed by Taika Waititi, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes.
For me, I want The Irishman to win this one. I think that's the best adapted screenplay of the year. I love Steven Zaillian. He's a terrific writer. I love what he did with Schindler's List and Moneyball. But what I think is going to win, this is kind of a tough one, even though Little Women did win the Critics' Choice Awards, but I think got lucky there. I'll have to find out who wins the Writers Guild. It might go to Joker because they kind of like the controversy stuff. Well, that would be really neat if Joker did win, but I really hope it goes to The Irishman.
Yeah. Best original Best original screen.
What got left out? What got left out in adapted screenplay? There was something that got left out in adapted screenplay that kind of made me upset. Oh yeah, Christopher
Avengers
Marcus and Stephen McFeely for Avengers Endgame. What the fuck? I went
Yeah.
over that in my Q&A video though.
For best original screenplay, we have 1917. Great movie, but I don't think the screenplay was really a highlight of the movie. We also have Knives Out, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Where's Uncut Gems?
Oh yeah, where the flying fuck is Uncut Gems? There's nothing for There is nothing for Uncut Gems.
Again, but we'll get to that later.
But of those picks, I do want to see Quentin. I think Quentin Tarantino win with his third Oscar, and rightfully so. If Noah Baumbach wins for Marriage Story, I would not mind because I love Marriage Story.
For our best supporting actress, we have Kathy Bates in Richard Jewell.
I haven't seen Richard Jewell.
Laura Dern in Marriage Story, who is the front runner to win. Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit. Florence Pugh for Little Women.
Yeah.
And Margot Robbie for Bombshell.
I know it's kind of unfair to me to say this because Little Women is the only of the nominees I've actually seen. But yeah, I would be happy if Laura Dern wins this one because she was terrific in the movie.
Yeah, I bet she's gonna win that Oscar. Anyways, for Best Supporting Actor, we have Tom Hanks in his first nomination in 20 years in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Oh my god! Yeah, I haven't seen the movie yet. I still haven't seen the movie yet.
We also have Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes.
It's his first nomination since Amistad. Wow.
Both Al Pacino and Joe Pesci for The Irishman.
Joe Pesci's my pick.
And Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, who is the front runner.
Yeah, he's gonna win this one. Which again, I would not mind at all because I loved him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Anyways, for Best Actress, we have Cynthia Erivo. I could be
Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah, her in Harriet. Scarlett Johansson in Marriage Story. What do you know? 2 nominations in 1 year.
That hasn't happened since Julianne Moore being nominated for both The Hours and Far From Heaven in 2002.
I know. Didn't Jimmy Fox get nominated for Ray and Calero back in?
Yeah, that was the last time that happened. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
We also have Saoirse Ronan for Little Women. Charlize Theron in Bombshell, and Renee Zellweger for Judy.
Scarlett Johansson is of the only nominees I've seen. But I would like to see her win this one, but it's going to go to Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, it's pretty much a guarantee. Best Actor.
Oh, for fucking shit's sake, man.
Antonio Banderas for Pain and Glory. Leo for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
He was great, but I don't know, man.
Adam Driver for Marriage Story.
Yes.
Joaquin Phoenix in Joker.
Hell yes.
Jonathan Pryce in The Two Popes, and no Adam Sandler or Taron Egerton.
That is absolute fucking horseshit. And the Oscars themselves, actually no, a longtime Academy member, Terry Moore, even publicly stated their reason as to why they didn't nominate Adam Sandler or Jennifer Lopez for Hustlers and Uncut Gems, and it came off as biased, selfish, picky, and not so objective at all, and unprofessional.
Oh boy, can't wait to hear that. You know what? I'd say Adam Sandler is pretty much the worst Oscar snub of the decade. I'd say it's worse than Jake Gyllenhaal. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because first of all, Nightcrawler was still nominated for Best Original Screenplay. So at least Nightcrawler didn't get completely left out. And second of all, Jake Gyllenhaal, besides Nightcrawler, does have other great movies under his belt, like Brokeback Mountain. There's Donnie Darko, Nocturnal Animals,
Prisoners, and
yeah.
Enemy.
And what does Adam Sandler have besides Punch Drunk Love and Uncut Gems?
Happy Gilmore, one of my favorite comedies. And Reign Over Me and Funny People.
Yeah, but other than those two, and also Hotel Transylvania to a certain extent. But what other movies has he done? A movie where what other movies has he?
That should not be the case of why he should not be nominated. That is the reason of why they didn't nominate Adam Sandler, because of his fucking track record, which is completely unprofessional.
Well, in that case, why did you give Eddie Redmayne the Oscar after he starred in Jupiter Descending?
No. Jupiter Ascending came out after he won.
No, it came out between the announcement of the nominations and the ceremony itself.
Right, but the movie came out like after the ceremony. The movie was released after the ceremony.
Yeah.
And I know a big example. Probably the better example would be Peter Farrelly, who had an awful string of movies this whole decade, with Dumb and Dumber 2, Movie 43, The Three Fucking Stooges, and now you give him the Oscar for Green Book, which is a really good movie and a huge improvement over his other movies in the past few years, but not Best Picture worthy or Best Screenplay worthy compared to other movies. You're fucking hypocritical dipshits!
Yeah. But yeah, that is exactly why Adam Sandler is hands down the worst Oscar snub of the decade.
It's up there for me. And I am so sick of their bias towards Adam Sandler. First they snubbed him for Punch Drunk Love, and now Uncut Gems.
Now with that out of the way, let's get down to Best Director. We have Sam Mendes for 1917. We have Martin Scorsese for The Irishman.
Yes.
Todd Phillips for Joker.
That kind of surprised me a bit.
Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I can understand that.
And Bong Joon-ho for Parasite.
I still haven't seen Parasite yet.
But where are the Russos for Endgame?
Where are the Anthony and Joe Russo? Where are the Safdie brothers?
Yeah. Anyways, now we get to...
Sam Mendes is going to win his second Oscar.
Yeah, it's kind of a given at this point. Now then we get to Best Picture. And we have 9 movies as opposed to the 8 from last year. First up, there's 1917, hell yes. Ford versus Ferrari, hell yes. The Irishman, yes. Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Yeah,
Only 9 nominees, and they don't fill in the last spot. I am so sick of this horse shit. They run this award show so convoluted, probably on purpose.
yeah. Let me tell you, it is a pretty solid list compared to last year. I mean, last year had Bohemian Rhapsody and Vice, but why not fill the last spot with a little movie called Endgame, Avengers Endgame, the highest grossing movie of all time.
No Avengers Endgame, no Uncut Gems. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous to me.
Yeah. Anyways, what I think will win is either 1917 or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. What my pick would be is Joker.
My pick would be The Irishman, but I would love it if Joker surprises me and did win. But I think the race is between either Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 1917, or Parasite.
Yeah.
Going to be one of the three.
And that does it, folks, for the 92nd Academy Award nominations. And we really hope the actual wins will be a bit better than the nominations. Now, to close us all off, let's get down to business with all of the Star Wars movies ranked from worst to best. All 11 of them.
All right.
Anyways,
all right, who's going first with this one?
I could go first if you don't mind. Anyways,
all right, what's your number 11?
My number 11 is probably a shocker to all of you, but this is the worst Star Wars movie because I feel like it is pretty decent, but yeah, it's the one that least wanted to exist. Number 11 is Solo.
Solo.
Yeah. I mean, say what you will about the prequels, they at least had a point in showing Anakin's slow turn to the dark side. Rogue One, to an extent, going into detail on how the rebels got the Death Star plans. What purpose does Solo have?
Well, because it's made to show off like how Han Solo became like the Han Solo that we all know and love. It's a showcase of his life before he met Luke.
I see, but did we really need to know where he came from? Isn't he kind of a badass on his own, Han Solo?
Get to that later.
Anyways, that is why Solo is my least favorite Star Wars movie. Still pretty decent in my eyes, but comparatively, you get the point.
All right, my number 11. Good fucking God. Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could not stand Attack of the Clones. It is boring. It is drawn out. There is very little action, very little time for actual characters. So much of it is just people just walking around behind green screen effects and talking exposition points. Samuel Jackson as Mace Windu is so wasted here, and Christopher Lee as Count Dooku is not an interesting villain at all in the slightest, and it plays so safe too. Like for instance, there's a moment where Anakin is so pissed off that his mother died, and he's like, oh, he's gonna kill some droids, but then it cuts to just people talking. That is like a big fucking slap in the face. And okay, let's not forget, some of the greatest romance of all time between Anakin and Padme. I swear to God, their chemistry is what inspired Stephanie Meyer to do Twilight. I swear to God, this is what made them. made her do Twilight, because their dialogue is so fucking terrible. Of course, the infamous sand dialogue for one thing, and they share no romantic connections between one another. And I swear, Padme has like some more big obsession with fashion. Like every time we see her, she's in different clothing. The only good thing about it is Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. That's all I can say. And I don't know why half of the stormtroopers are CG. I don't get it. No, all the stormtroopers are like CG. It makes no sense. So that's why Attack of the Clones is my number 11.
My number 10 for me is my least favorite of the Skywalker saga. Again, I kind of have a soft spot for it, but it's pretty easy to see why it turns some people off. Number 10 is Rise of Skywalker.
That's also my number 10.
I'll say this. It does have some spectacular action sequences, and I feel like it was a pretty decent conclusion to Rey and Kylo Ren's story arc. But here's the thing, though. My biggest problem is that you could argue that The Last Jedi already answered some of the questions raised by The Force Awakens, and I feel like the only reason why they made this one was that people expect Star Wars to be a trilogy.
The reason why, okay. I want to give a big apology to My Little Pony the movie. I thought that was the most disappointing movie of the whole decade. I kind of have to change my mind now after seeing Rise of Skywalker in theaters, because this movie left me with a big disappointment on my face. Because if this is supposed to be the real conclusion to the Skywalker saga, then I'm going to say this right now, it did not feel at all like a conclusion at all. It's just characters, like these characters doing a bunch of stuff, and they missed some great opportunities too. We got Rey, Finn, and Poe all together for the first time. They're going on this adventure, and what do you get from them? Oh, just bickering and arguing because why have real development between the three? I mean, what? I mean, it's like what? What? Only the final movie in the Skywalker saga? That's not important. And you have Billy D. Williams returning as Lando, one of my favorite Star Wars characters. And what do you do with him? Nothing! You don't do anything with him! He's just there. That's all. He's just there. It's not like in The Force Awakens where they brought old characters back and do something new and unexpected. They just bring back Lando. I swear, it's like J.J. Abrams made this movie to pander towards those who dislike The Last Jedi rather than focus on his own ways of visual storytelling. That was another problem I had with the movie that kind of pissed me the fuck off. What was it? Oh yeah, Rey. If people thought Rey was OP in The Last Jedi, which I'll get to later, oh my. And when she tells us a bunch of crazy things I'm pretty sure Luke did not train her to do. And I swear, unlike in The Last Jedi, which I'll get to later, it calls for her being a badass. There are certain moments where it calls for her doing some cool shit. Here, it looks like she just wants to stand out. It came off as her just wanting to show off to Poe and Finn. That's all it came off as. So that's my okay. I got some positives. First off, the action is cool because it's J.J. Abrams. You go into J.J. Abrams movie, you're gonna get some cool action scenes, and it's pretty nice to see Harrison Ford back as Han Solo for that. Even as a one brief moment, it was nice to see him back. And even though Adam Driver was good in the movie, despite going against what made Kylo Ren a badass, he was still good in the movie. And bullshit, J.J. Abrams, you did not plan on having Emperor Palpatine to come back. You just wanted to pander towards those who dislike The Last Jedi.
Yeah, his appearance was kind of.
No, he's just
pandering.
back just because. They give a poor explanation to why he's back. It's like, hey, I'm back. I'm serious. Like after this movie and the constant hiring and firing directors, Kathleen Kennedy is now the new George Lucas.
Yeah, say what you will about George Lucas. At least he had a plan throughout the whole prequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy, yeah. Speaking of prequels, my number 9 is The Phantom Menace.
That's also my number 9.
It's I'll say this. It's the very first Star Wars movie I ever saw because my first experience with Star Wars was the original Lego Star Wars game, and being obsessed with that game, I decided to check out this movie for itself, and which is probably why I kind of have a soft spot for the prequels. But yeah, it's hard to see why people were so disappointed back in 1999. What do you have to say about it?
Oh, well, that's all you got to say about Phantom Menace?
Yeah, I think you pretty much say it better than I do.
Oh, okay. Here's what I say about Phantom Menace. Yes, objectively speaking, it is a worse movie than Rise of Skywalker. It really is. But I'm just going to say this. I think I'd rather watch a mediocre trilogy that started out pretty terrible than this awesome new trilogy that ends on a whimper. But, okay. So let's go into why Phantom Menace really sucks. First and foremost, of course, Jar Jar Binks. Aside from the fact that he's so goddamn annoying, he doesn't really contribute to anything, and he's pretty useless as a leader. I don't know why the Gungan army put him as a leader. It's fucking ridiculous. And, of course, he fucks up as a leader. What a shock. And Jake Lloyd as Anakin Skywalker, man, it is just... George Lucas cast him because of Jingle All the Way. Did he really? Of course, first of all, I feel bad for Jake Lloyd, for getting picked on in school after the movie came out. That is a disappointment. But the truth is, he was so terrible as Anakin Skywalker. He came up as annoying and obnoxious, and I really couldn't stand seeing him. And not to mention, what Yoda said actually makes no sense. First, he says, sense danger in the boy, I do. That's like at first because he doesn't trust him, and then later at the end, he's like, yeah, okay, do your training. Hello, Master Yoda. Don't you think it'd be a good idea to, I don't know, like take him into custody or something like that? Something because because you are a wise old man who senses danger.
Well, to be fair, at the end, he did say the chosen one, the boy might be. Nevertheless...
oh, yeah, of course, that fucking prophecy story. I really hate that shit. He's the chosen one because the prophecy says so. Because fuck show and tell, right?
Right.
But I will say this. It does contain what I think is the best Star Wars soundtrack of all time, Duel of the Fates. I listen to that song all the time on my iPod. I've had to listen to half the songs on my Star Wars songs on my iPod.
Yeah, and say what you will about the use of the CGI, but the backgrounds at least looked pretty nice.
My big problem with the CGI is it looks like, George Lucas has been using the CGI as a way to chew the scenery. Because, for instance, like the character's like about to enter the crowd for the pod racing, and I don't know, there's this one CG character who's like doing a bunch of crazy shit, and like I said, it looks like it's just there just to chew the scenery. That's that's my main problem with the use of CGI in Phantom Menace. It's like it just made the chew the scenery, so it stands out more than the more important characters.
I couldn't really disagree on that. But yeah, number 9 for both of us is The Phantom Menace. My number 8 is probably controversial because it's higher than Rise of Skywalker and The Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones.
Yeah,
Personally,
did put it higher than wow.
Personally, I kind of have more fun with it because it had a wide range of action set pieces, like the whole car chase through Coruscant. You had this gladiator fight. You had all those Jedi coming together to this whole army of Jedi against this whole army of droids. And of course, we had Yoda being showcased fighting for the first time.
Which contradicts everything about his character, but whatever.
All right. Number 8, pretty controversial pick, but my number 8 is Attack of the Clones. What about your number 8?
My number 8, a little better territory here, is a movie that is flawed, but still has a lot of enjoyable moments. That is Solo, a Star Wars story.
Well, what do you know? We have some of the same movies in the bottom 5.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah. I really enjoyed Solo. Even though there are some noticeable flaws there, of course, mainly due to the fact that Phil Lord and Chris Miller have already directed like 85% of the movie, then they got fired, and Ron Howard just came in just to finish the movie, and you could see all the troubling production issues, which again is the reason why I consider Kathleen Kennedy to be the new George Lucas. But Alden Ehrenreich really captured, what made Han Solo. And I enjoyed some of the other side characters like Jon Favreau and Woody Harrelson. And I kind of cared about his relationship with Thandie Newton. Of course, I don't really care about the relationship with him and this one girl who we all know it wasn't good. We all know the relationship wasn't going to last long because, Han and Leia. We all know that was going to happen. So I figured, there should have been another, love interest. And that ending, I was like, what? It was like a total cop-out. It's like, oh, it's a twist is going. No, it was just like a total cheap cop-out. That's what it was. But like I said, I really enjoyed Alden Ehrenreich. I enjoyed a lot of the cool action sequences. It really felt like, big Western fun. Really felt like watching a Western Star Wars movie. And, oh, yeah, Donald Glover as Lando. Hell yes, I loved him. I loved him so much as Lando. Lando was one of my favorite characters of all time in Star Wars. Loved him. Loved him so much. Yeah, that's my number 8.
Anyways, number 7, number 6, I spent the whole number of time switching back and forth, but eventually this is how it pretty much came down to. As for my number 7, we have hands down the best prequel in the series, Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith for me is the movie that pretty much set the bar really high, which is saying something, which isn't saying a lot, seeing that it followed 2 pretty iffy prequels. But from that first opening alone, from that opening alone, it's all back to Star Wars again. And I really felt for Anakin, and as he slowly delved into the dark side and eventually becoming Darth Vader. I mean, yes, it did have some iffy moments like Darth Vader saying no and some of the weak dialogue, but it's still a decent conclusion to the prequel trilogy. So my number 7 is Revenge of the Sith.
All right, my number 7 is the last of the anthology movies. Oh wait, no, there's only 2 of them. Anyways, my number 7 is Rogue One.
It's my number 6.
Yeah, we'll get to yours later though. Rogue One for me was like a really interesting showcase for all the Death Star plans that were going on behind the scenes, and I really liked Felicity Jones as Jyn. I think like she was a really interesting and badass, female protagonist. I really didn't care so much about the chemistry so much with her and Diego Luna. But I love a majority of the characters. Particularly like Alan Tudyk as this. God, what's that droid's name? That smart ass droid. He was so funny.
K2SO?
Yes, K2. He was so hilarious. I love him so much in that movie. Ben Mendelsohn is passable. I mean, he is a good villain actor, but I don't know. He really wasn't really as developed here in this movie as compared to some of the other characters. Yeah, some of the characters not well developed, but when others are developed, they were very well developed. And of course, the moment with Darth Vader. Oh my God, that is one of the best moments in Star Wars history ever. I love that moment so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, going to my number 6 for all the reasons you just mentioned. It really is the first time they really put the word war in Star Wars. And some people had really big complaints about the characters being underdeveloped, but it didn't really bother me that much because it was pretty much a guarantee that they were all going to die. Looking at you, Chris Duckman.
Right, though, but as long as you develop them, well, a lot of them in the right way, then yeah. It's like Halo Reach. You know these characters are going to die, but you care for them so much that you don't want them to die. You don't want to write them off just for the sake of having them die. It's just so the real characters can come in. You want to develop these characters so much that you could relate to them as much as the other Star Wars characters. Well, particularly Jyn. I think Jyn is the most well developed in the whole movie.
Right. I did have one nitpick on the movie, and that's Grand Moff Tarkin. I mean, sure, it does make sense for him to be in there because he's pretty much the leader of the whole Death Star project. But the CG on him, it makes it pretty obvious that they resurrected a guy who's been dead for 20 years. I mean, not the terrible CG, but yeah, still no Irishman.
Yeah, well, because the difference is Peter Cushing is a dead actor.
Yeah.
Well, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino were already alive, and they were able to make the CG look convincing.
Yeah, true that. Anyways, Rogue One is number 7, my number 6.
Hey, my number 6 goes to the most divisive episode in history, directed by the man who made the most divisive episode in history. Oh, Breaking Bad episodes I'm talking about. That is Star Wars The Last Jedi. Oh, by the way, I love The Fly. It's one of my favorite Breaking Bad episodes. Anyway, The Last Jedi is an episode is a Star Wars movie that's very divisive for reasons I could somewhat understand, but not enough for people to be like edgelords and say, "Oh, it's worse than the prequels. It's worse than the prequels." I'm like, I don't know if I consider you to be real Star Wars fans if you really think that. People like to throw the word, like, "Oh, raise a Mary Sue," as if they know what the word Mary Sue means. When I looked up the definition of Mary Sue, a Mary Sue is a character who is lacking of any flaws. Well, if you're talking about Rise of Skywalker, sure, but here in The Last Jedi, yeah, there were quite a few number of flaws that were showcased with her character. Her biggest one is learning how to use the Force, not just use the Force, but learning how to balance the Force. Because she thought learning the Force would be a breeze. by saying like, "Oh, it's just about making things float," which made Luke say one of the best lines in Star Wars history. Impressive. Every word in that sentence is wrong. And it leads to funny comedic bantering between her and Luke in order to help Rey keep focused. That is her big flaw. And well, no, not yet, not yet. Her big flaw is yes, she was able to learn the Force, but the real tricky part is learning how to balance the Force between light and dark. She kept going to the dark side. She couldn't bring herself out to the light in order to balance between the two. That's her big flaw. Until later in the end, she learned how to do it. So don't give me that Mary Sue crap. And I'm not being subjective. It's showcased in the damn movie. I think people are just trying to be edgelords and shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, but there are flaws. There are a couple of big flaws I will get to. First off, the chemistry between Finn and Rose. It is no Han and Leia, not even close. Oh, by the way, Rose, speaking of which, another problem with the Rise of Skywalker. You just leave Rose in the background, really? Instead of trying to fix the chemistry between Finn and Rose to make it more believable, you just throw her in the background like she didn't mean anything.
Yeah, they couldn't have done what they did to Anakin and Ahsoka in the Clone Wars series and have them fully developed throughout.
Is absolutely ridiculous. And also, I feel like the way they killed off Snoke in this movie kind of felt like a cop out. It felt like like they were in the middle of giving him more development, make him more of a fleshed out character, but then he decides to like kill him off while he was being developed. So that felt kind of a waste. But all the great things really outweighed all the bad stuff. First off, it is one of the best looking Star Wars movies ever. Rian Johnson really knows how to capture all of the shots, make all the worlds feel believable, and every single shot that actually captures a character's emotions, and of course all the fight sequence too, but in particular the one between Luke and Kylo Ren. That was fucking awesome. They were able to give. They didn't just bring Luke back just because to make the fans happy. They gave Luke some new. And I understand people say, "Oh, not my Luke Skywalker, not my Luke Skywalker." It actually makes sense why Luke is that way. What do you just want him to be the same with no surprises at all? And the movie shows us even more ways of the Force, something we've never seen before, that as to make us learn the Force in new ways. It is so well done, and I applaud Rian Johnson for that. And after Rise of Skywalker, I'm very worried for his new trilogy.
So, anyways, my number 5 is, well, not as good as the original 2, but it's still a damn good movie. Number 5 is Return of the Jedi.
Interesting. Wait, where did I put? Okay, no, not yet.
Return of the Jedi is a pretty damn good movie. It's an excellent conclusion to Luke's story arc. Until Disney bought the whole franchise, and it does have really spectacular visual effects and action sequences. But then again, what do you expect from Star Wars? My only nitpick about it is the whole side plot with rescuing Han from Jabba. It's a tick long, just a little long. But yeah, the only bogs it down from a 10 to a 9 for me. But it doesn't change the fact that Return of the Jedi is a pretty sweet movie and is my number 5.
All right. My number 5 might be a bit of a controversial one because it's part of this particular trilogy, but it's actually one of my favorite Star Wars movies despite that, and I'm talking about Revenge of the Sith.
I can see that actually.
Uh, for me, it's like if George Lucas somewhat listened to the feedback that he got with Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace, and well, I guess the biggest thing he fixed is it's a more well-paced Star Wars movie compared to Phantom Menace and especially Attack of the Clones. Um, but there are some like I guess we should get to the big flaws first. First off, Hayden Christensen's performance is still very wooden as hell, um, and the romance with him and Padme is still not believable in the slightest. Oh, and by the way, you went from Padme doing a bunch of action in Attack of the Clones to just having her doing nothing and just worrying for Anakin. That's kind of a step down for her character. You really think about that. Oh, but she's pregnant, yeah. But still, you gotta make her feel like important to the story. Um, and I do like General Grievous. He is an awesome character, but I don't know. I don't know why you had to CG him. Why you had to CG him. So because of that, the fight with him and Luke Skywalker, not Luke, and Obi-Wan, it looks like Ewan McGregor is just swinging his lightsaber at nothing. But aside from that, this is one of my favorite Star Wars movies because it's a Star Wars movie that shows that took so much risk. It leads into the original trilogy so well because it's a movie that shows there is very, very little hope within the galaxy, within the Galactic Empire. There are people getting their backs turned on and killed too. It is so sad. And oh my God, the younglings. I cried. I cried that scene with the younglings. I really did. And I really love the fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan. It is one of the best Star Wars fights ever because these are two Jedi Masters who are very well trained and able to mimic every move, and yet can still come off as very tense and heart-pounding. And even though I did not like Anakin and not Hayden Christensen's performance in the movie, I was still invested in Anakin because every scene you see him slowly transform into the dark side. He doesn't just transform into the dark side right away, but he slowly starts to transform, and it's very well developed here then in Attack of the Clones, where he just comes off as a whiny child. But here though, like within each passing scene, you can sense something wrong with him because Emperor Palpatine knows exactly how to push every button on him to trigger him. And that final battle, and that's at the final battle, but of course the famous line, you were the chosen one. It really felt heartbreaking to watch because Obi-Wan is leaving behind his student who he considers as a father figure to Anakin, and so that really felt heartbreaking to watch. And of course, later gets ruined when Darth Vader screams no, like a kind of like a whiner. It really well, it's not ruined completely. I've heard other lines that ruin an emotional scene like entirely. Who else will I have ice cream with? Anyway, Revenge of the Sith is one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and it seems like George Lucas listened. Well, somewhat, and then he decided to fuck up, the Clone Wars TV show. Chronologically speaking, that is. And there you go. Revenge of the Sith, my number 5.
Oh, well, one thing I forgot to mention about Attack of the Clones, a lot of people have been complaining about Padme, quotes, dying of a broken heart, when clearly she didn't die of a broken heart. She died from complications after Anakin force choked her.
No, she lost the will to live, as Yoda put it. That's such a stupid line.
Anyways, my number 4 is the movie that pretty much saved Star Wars, The Force Awakens.
Go on.
Oh, the Force Awakens it's the first time since it's probably the first time while Revenge of the Sith is pretty damn good. Force Awakens is pretty much probably the first time since Return of the Jedi that pretty much sparked the magic of what made the original one so damn good. And the new actors are pretty fantastic, like Oscar Isaac, John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, and
Daisy really is a new actor, but John Boyega and Oscar Isaac have been acting before this.
And the old actors are pretty damn good too. Harrison Ford pretty much, I think, gave his best performance as Han Solo, and Carrie Fisher is pretty spectacular as well. But the main thing that really got me is the action sequences. J.J. Abrams really gave us these pretty fast-paced action sequences, which I guess were missing from the prequels, even Revenge of the Sith. But yeah, that's why Force Awakens is my number 4.
Fuck. What the fuck? Oh, okay. 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 All right. Okay. Do it later. Okay. All right. My number 4 is the real conclusion. Like, just this is the only like true conclusion to the Skywalker saga. Return of the Jedi. Now, I'm gonna say this. There are a couple flaws I have with the movie. First, like the opening sequence kind of dragged out a little too long, not as well paced as Planet Hoth and Empire. And there's some expositional dialogue that kind of just throws you off. Like, seems if you're going, oh, look, there's Han Solo. He's still trapped in cement. Just in case you forgot. And of course, the Ewoks, the infamous Ewoks. I find these guys to be so damn annoying. Not Jar Jar Binks annoying, but just annoying enough where you just want to fast forward. You just want to hit the fast forward button. And of course, they had to make a Christmas special dedicated to those little fuckers. Oh my god. But everything else is absolutely fantastic. I think this is Mark Hamill's best performance as the character of Luke Skywalker, because he was able to help with, well, not really change, but help, show Darth Vader, well, his father, the light. And Obi-Wan was able to bring new insights to the character of Darth Vader, who he was known as Anakin, revealed to be as Anakin. And I'm going to say this is the Star Wars way that made me cry the most, for 3 reasons. 1, Yoda's passing. That shit broke me. Because Yoda's one of my favorite characters, and he went out with dignity. He just went out just like, dying, like, feeling sad. He still kept his, his wise old man mannerisms while dying, and that just made me smile while crying because he's going to go away. Another scene is Vader's redemption. After he somehow lifted Palpatine and threw him down. Seriously, how can you just lift him like he's nothing?
Well, to be fair, he was a pretty frail old man compared to Darth Vader's physique. But go on.
Oh, he's already as old as Palpatine. Anyway, that scene, with Vader's mask off and his last time look as Luke, it was just beautiful. It was just like, just a real sign of redemption.
Mm-hmm.
And especially after watching, here are the prequels, he really is a Jedi Master. And of course, the ending. I thought that there was, even though I have the The fucking stupidest shit. Special editions. Oh my god. Um, that ending is absolutely perfect. I could not ask for a better ending than that. It really wrapped up Luke's story arc, Leia's story arc, and Han's story arc perfectly. And all the action is just absolutely stunning. And of course, the famous "It's a trap," line that became a meme, which you might say could get a little old. But Return of the Jedi is one of my favorite Star Wars movies, and I love it so much. And it's the movie that made me cry the most in the entire saga. That's why it's my number 4.
All right, my number 3 is probably hands down the most decisive Star Wars movie, The Last Jedi.
Yeah, your number. Yeah, you have it as your number 3. Well, prepare for torches and pitchforks right at your door.
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty much one of the biggest defenders on The Last Jedi. I found it a pretty captivating film sequel, especially for Luke and Rey and Kylo Ren. And I'll just say this: I didn't really mind the Canto Bite scene, and I didn't really mind Holdo's the whole Holdo's story arc. I mean, she clearly didn't trust Poe after he caused a bajillion deaths in that previous battle, so of course she wasn't going to trust him. And I'll just say this: I didn't really mind the fact that Rose bumped into Finn to keep him from sacrificing himself. I mean, you could argue that. Yeah.
I thought that scene was pretty stupid. It made no sense.
So yeah, I didn't really mind those moments, and it does have some of the best moments in the entire franchise, like the throne room fight and the Lightspeed Ram, and of course we have the climax where Luke goes up against Kylo Ren for the last time. Well, kinda. And that's why The Last Jedi is my number 3 favorite Star Wars movie.
All right. My number 3 is the movie that brought the series back full force after taking it out of George Lucas's dirty, grubby hands, wiped it all out, and gave us a fresh new start. Star Wars The Force Awakens. J.J. Abrams, I highly applaud you for this. You not only brought back, some of the old fan favorites of the Star Wars saga, like like Han and Leia. You didn't just bring them back like with Lando. You just bring them back, and that's it. You were able to bring something new and unexpected to Han and Leia. That just makes us love these characters just as much, if not even more, than what you did with the original trilogy. It was so well shot. It has amazing worlds, and the new characters that were introduced, Rey, Finn, and Poe, were amazing. They were incredibly well developed in this movie, especially I love Finn's story arc. A stormtrooper who goes AWOL. That's something we never seen in Star Wars before, and that is so awesome. And all the fight sequences and all the fight sequences, the lightsaber moments were incredible, particularly the fight between Rey and Kylo Ren at the end. It was amazing. Oh, Kylo Ren is one of my favorite Star Wars characters of all time. Adam Driver brings this character to Adam Driver. At the time, Adam Driver was like a newcomer, although the movie While We're Young was not really an introduction, but it was a breakthrough to what's to come for this guy in the movie While We're Young, which is my favorite Noah Baumbach movie. But Adam Driver was able to, he wasn't just like, a Darth Vader 2.0. He was like a completely different character on his own. And every single scene of him is so captivating. and he's like a real menace. Like, you really don't want to mess with this guy. So yeah, Star Wars: The Force Awakens, it not only revived the Star Wars saga, it was able to bring many new things to it. And then Last Jedi came out, it had flaws, but still great. And then Rise of Skywalker, oh boy, that was so. How do you go downhill from there? So yeah, Star Wars: Force Awakens is my number 3.
And with that said, I believe we have the same top 2. Our number
I
2,
believe you do.
our number 2 is the original Star Wars.
Thank you. It's just called Star Wars. Don't you dare call it that.
Yeah.
It is not called that. It is called how it was originally called 1977. It's just called Star Wars.
Yeah. Let me just say right now, I know it's a pretty cliche thing, but seeing the original Star Wars is the movie that first got me into the film industry to begin with. Because of all of its because of all the new visual effects and technologies with all the complex characters and the writing. And yeah, I could pretty much quote the entire damn movie. I mean, a movie, because it has some pretty quotable lines, like okay, I can't really think of any in the top of my head, but that doesn't change the fact that Star Wars is a landmark in the film industry, and its impact on cinema is pretty undeniable, regardless of what the Academy thought about it. So yeah, what do you have to say about it?
All right, imagine, it's 1977. You are introduced to this new world. It was a blockbuster. It was a blockbuster movie like Jaws. Was it? Keep this in mind. The word blockbuster was still like in the making after Jaws came out. The word blockbuster hasn't yet to be invented. Oh, it basically was invented after Jaws came out. And there comes this other movie called Star Wars in 1977. You have never seen a movie like this. You ever seen like a crazy world like this in any film, and it just blows you away. All the cool special effects, all these interesting droids, all these new characters, these new fleshed out amazing characters, and these new actors you've never seen before. Harrison Ford, you kind of seen in that one bit part in American Graffiti. It is such an amazing new world that you had never seen back in 1977. My favorite moment my favorite shot in the whole movie is the binary sunset moment. If you know what scene I'm talking about, where Luke is stepping out of his farm in the night, and then he was looking at the two suns, one descending, one rising, and just thinking about what his future would be. It is such an amazing moment, and of course that mainly because that iconic John Williams score that just sets the bar in musical score compositions. I fucking love Star Wars, and and Han Solo is my favorite Star Wars character. When we see him, oh man, we know he's gonna be such an awesome guy. I love him so much. I love Han Solo. I love Alec Guinness' portrayal of Obi-Wan, even though he doesn't care about it. Well, he doesn't like how it's all blown up now, and when everyone walks up to him, all they have in mind is Obi-Wan. Oh well. And it was able to showcase, how, to showcase, Leia is not just like a princess, waiting to be rescued. She was able to do stuff. She was able to take action as well. And I love every single moment about this movie. It is so fucking awesome. I love Star Wars.
And yeah, it pretty much revolutionized the film industry, and yet the Academy pretty much stopped it for.
Yeah, because it's not a movie that takes place in modern day New York and about romance, right? Even though I will say Annie Hall is one of the best screenplays ever written. It does deserve best screenplay, but best director, come the hell on.
Yeah, pretty ridiculous. And with that out of the way, number one, come on, it's pretty obvious. Empire Strikes Back. We all know it's great. We all know it's better than the original. We all know it's darker. We all know it's bigger. We all know the twists. We all know the new characters. We all know the new characters. We all know how much critics hated it at first, but then came to grow warmer towards it. Yeah,
And we all know how a tater tot feels.
yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much a given that Empire Strikes Back is both our favorite Star Wars movie.
You have anything else to say about it?
I'll just say right now, I think you pretty much say it way better than I do. So go ahead, buddy.
All right. Empire Strikes Back is not just my favorite Star Wars movie, it is my sixth favorite movie of all time.
Number 4.
I love like the direction of this movie from Irvin Kershner, who later went on to do RoboCop 2. Wow. It's not just like the cool action scenes are well handled. That is great, but all the world building, all the technical achievements is so fantastic. Like when you see Cloud City in this time, in this day and age, you'll be shocked. You know how well developed Cloud City looks even to this day. And seeing Lando for the first time, Lando is just as much of a wise ass as Han Solo is, but he is so awesome. I love Lando, and of course the famous, iconic, Darth Vader theme is just dun 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 dun, and then we get introduced to Yoda, played by Muppet Master himself, Frank Oz, who is a funny, wise old man. He's not just some wise old man here to teach. He has a lot of charm to him. There is a lot of charm to Yoda as a character, and which is why he's one of my favorites. And the fight scene with Luke and Darth Vader, it's a cliche to say, but it is the best lightsaber duel in all of Star Wars history. Not just for how choreographed the fight scenes are, but the location they're in, the dark lighting, and of course, and the his arm being cut, his hand being cut off, ouch, and the famous twist, no, I am your father. And people, it's no, I am your father. Not Luke, I am your father. I am so sick of people saying that. It's not the line. But yeah, Empire Strikes Back is a movie that brings sci-fi and film to a whole new level. And that is why it's my favorite Star Wars movie, and also my sixth favorite movie of all time.
It's my number 4. Pretty much tied with the original Star Wars movie, but yeah, it's my number 4 favorite movie of all time, and my favorite Star Wars movie. So with that all said, that includes yet another episode of the FilmBrony podcast. We all hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you whenever.
Thank you all so much for watching another exciting episode of the FilmBrony broadcast. I'm Smart3. Go to my channel where every Thursday, which is tomorrow, I will be doing a weekly Q&A where you can ask me one question per video, and I'll be doing that tomorrow. I can't wait to do that with you guys tomorrow. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. I will see you guys next time.
All right. Take care, people, and yeah.
Bye-bye.